Saturdays, the 5 o'clock hour is hot on Fit FM 96.7, www.fitfmja.com. Your life, your music with Lady D, Denise Gomez, Inside the Zone. Catch me on Monday at 5 p.m. for the Monday Drive, keeping you in the know in the city you walk, drive, and reside. And on Friday, yes, at 5 p.m. for Center Stage, the platform where voices are heard and people connect. From abroad to yard, Trelawney. Hi, I'm Lady D Denise Gomez, and I have exciting interview segments and features inside the zone. For recording artists, you can sing? Well, Inside the Zone, second Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. is for you. Writers, share your story, no man, in From the Author Zone on third Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. Male Zone has unbelievably juicy stories of love, heartbreak, and triumph. 7 p.m. has never been this good. On Mondays, it's news, talk, engaging features at 7 in the Monday Drive. And Center Stage has everyone talking on Thursdays. Be a part of the show. Email me insidethezone@gmail.com or call me 914-304-2592. Celebrate the heartbeat of Caribbean culture with Satideh Mawnin runs. Join us on Saturdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube as we showcase the vibrant heritage of Jamaica and the wider Caribbean with 4 incredible women, Sherns, Max, Jackie, and me, Lady D. From powerful stories to cultural traditions, we're bringing the flavor, rhythm, and excellence of the Caribbean straight to you. It's more than a show. It's a celebration of the roots and traditions that inspire and unite us. Subscribe to Inside the Zone with Lady D on YouTube and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn to stay connected every Saturday at 10 a.m. It's Satideh Morning Runnings. Come feel the vibes. Satideh Morning Runnings, where Caribbean heritage comes alive.
Can you feel the vibe? Give me that beat.
Join us this Saturday at 10 a.m. for a heartwarming, soul-stirring edition of Satideh Morning Runnings as we celebrate the woman who shaped our world, our mothers. In this Mother's Day special, titled Me and Me Modda, we'll discuss the virtues they taught, the generational traits we carry, and the sacrifices they made in silence. We're unpacking how their lives, whether triumphant or tinged with regret, continue to echo through us and our children. How have you been shaped by your mother's choices? What lessons are you passing on? Did she live for herself Or did she live for you? It's real, it's raw, it's reverent. Tune in and tell your story. Come make we talk, me and me Modda. Streaming live on Instagram at Lady D Denise Gomez, Facebook Inside the Zone, Facebook Lady D Denise Gomez, and YouTube Inside the Zone with Lady D. Mawnin.
Morning.
Mawnin. Mawnin.
Howdy doody.
Hello. How are you there? Good morning, everyone out there in the land of social media.
Oh, yeah.
My name is Lady D, Denise Gomez Green, and I'm the host, producer of Inside the Zone. Of course, my co-producer, Evil Green, he's in the back office doing what he does. And we are here staging and looking all fancy. So,
I wonder why.
yes.
Well, good morning, everybody,
Good morning. Good morning, Sir Green.
and happy
Good
Mother's
morning,
Day.
Mr. Producer.
Oh, wow, you look wonderful, ladies. Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy
I
the
almost
day.
said the same to you.
Go ahead, you can say it.
I did that once in the Bronx.
You know when you're
I did
small,
that once in the Bronx.
Oh, go ahead, I'll take it.
when you're small, kids used to say, "Are you a who for mother?" Instead of saying, "Who's your mother?" "Are you a who for mother?"
For mother, yes.
I'm the easy mother, Lady D's mother.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I'm
From another
sorry.
mother. Okay,
Right.
we'll take you.
Have a wonderful day, guys. Sorry I can't
Thank
be with
you.
you. Happy Mother's Day again.
The very same to you, my dear. Thanks for the work you're putting in. All right.
Thank you, darling. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So he won't be able to be here, but he'll be wherever. So we want to say good morning.
Okay.
Welcome to the show. Oh my gosh, it promises to be great this morning. As you are coming in to our space, we want you to share the link with someone because everybody has something to celebrate. It does not matter your journey with your mom. There has to be a tinge of something that you can
Yes.
recall. And we are talking this morning. Oh my God, it's kind of a loaded topic, but we will do our best to unravel the pieces. And those of you who are out there and you're like, should I come on? Come, man. We would love to have you. So, welcome to Satideh Morning Runnings. With me, of course, is my girl, Sherns, and Maxie and Jax will be joining us in a few minutes. So, we want to hop on over so we could say morning to each other properly. How are the girls?
I'm
Well,
fine.
I'm not
Oh, we-
complaining. I'm here. I'm fine and fabulous. I feel energized this morning, mentally especially.
Sure. And
Wow.
we're sporting pink.
Yes.
Yes.
Pink
Pink
is
is
for
in.
girls.
Morning. Yes. So we want to say good morning to you. Nice to see you, girls. And we will start talking in a few minutes. Let's hop on over, as always, to our audience. Pat is first in line. She says, ladies, you look so fabulous. Mr. Pat, we feel so fabulous we could jump.
Yes. Make we jump.
we could jump and skip. It's a good thing when we feel good about ourselves. I'm telling you,
Yes.
because there are people who are going through such challenges with self-esteem, and no matter how well they look or how well they're doing, believe it or not, compliment them. You pay them a compliment, and they just coil. They just don't know what to do with it. So
Yeah, they
we
can't accept it. Yeah.
can't accept.
Yes.
We want to say, hey, we there. We have got through life.
We are doing good, and every day is a new day. So morning, so nice. Dr. J, how are you? Welcome, Dr. J. Love the topic, me and my mother. Indeed. She says,
Yes.
morning, Dr. J. And she said, how you do? Me good, me good. And also, she just saw her cousin, so they talked to greet each other a while ago. Yes. Pat says we look fabulous. Thank you. Charles is
Thank
here.
you, Pat.
Morning, lovely ladies, and Saturday morning. Marie,
Morning.
our fan in the corner. Morning, Marie. Good morning from beautiful sunny Bronx, New York. True. Happy Mother's Day to all mothers tomorrow. I
Oh, wow.
a double. Everyone's seeing a blue moon. My birthday falls on Mother's Day. The moon is blue tomorrow. Mhm.
Okay.
Yes,
Double
Nice.
celebration.
yes. So Joan says a whole heap of my mother in me, and her life has definitely defined mine.
Mm.
Morning,
Same here.
Ralphie. Good morning to you, Ralphie. Kat, how you do? Morning, morning. Welcome. So please share the link while you're coming in, and we'll start our conversation this morning because it's always good to put this very mysterious gift that women have been ordained with, because had it not been for the master craftsman, God, even now
Mhm.
in our minds, we're trying to figure out how this thing really work biologically from what we are taught. They walk us through about the sperm and the egg, but still you wonder, but how this thing really work. And the fact that we are here, it simply tells us, those of us who are faith believers, that for every human being whose mothers brought them into this world, you were fearfully and wonderfully made, and you have a reason
Yes.
to be here.
Yeah.
There is a purpose for all of us being
Mm.
here. No matter what path we have chosen, there's a significant reason why we're here. And if you have not yet fallen into your course of action, we hope that this morning there will be a takeaway for you. 25 minutes after 10 o'clock, it is Saturday morning runnings right here on Inside of the Zone. And we are getting ready now to start talk about some of the virtues and the generational traits we carry, a myriad of things, and some of the things that when we say, oh my gosh, I just sound like my mother a while ago, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yes, such
Yes.
a mother. So we want to welcome you to the show. Let it be one of engaging moments where when we read your comments, we can say, oh, that sounds like my mother. That kind.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mhm.
we are sharing notes this morning, no matter where we come from. It doesn't matter. Some of us are from the Caribbean. Some of us were born other parts of the world. We there. So make we start talk. So Mother's Day. We've had so many Mother's Day shows since we started this Saturday morning runnings here. We've come in our pillbox hats. We've dressed to the T. We've talked and we've talked. But I believe this is the first time we are actually delving into this topic. So we want to say good morning to you. Good morning, Jax, in pink and all. How are you?
Hi, Jackie.
Yes.
Don't
You-
don't 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 pretend you're tired. Because people who look so fabulous are not tired. Okay.
Indeed. So, Jackie, I'm going to ask you, you work from your phone?
I am from my phone because my computer is updating or something. So
Okay.
but I had something to do. I completely forgot I had people coming to make a delivery, and they came like smack right in the middle of when
Yes.
we're supposed to start the
That's
show.
all
So,
right. I'm going to put you, if you don't mind, I'm going to put you in the back office and you switch your camera.
oh, switch it to
Horizontal,
that
cross
way.
page.
Okay. I got you.
Yes. So you do that and we'll get back to you. So, yes. it's a beautiful day here, and it's Mother's Day. Me and Mother. How about you, Sherns? What about you and your mother who made her transition? But you remember her in a way that many of us. And before I even ask you that question, maybe I should have done something like this before, just to kick off the segment in that kind of way, because I know how many people love this particular song, and it tells a lot about what's going on here in the world. So let's play. Welcome, everyone. Enjoy.
You taught me everything and everything you've given me. I always keep it inside. You're the driving force in my life. Yeah. There isn't anything or anyone that I could be, and it just wouldn't feel right. If I didn't have you by my side. Oh, you were there for me to love and care for me when skies were gray. Whenever I was down, you were always there to comfort me. No one else can be what you have been to me. You will always be the girl in my life for all time. Mama, you know I love you. Ooh, you know I love you, Mama. Mama, you're the queen of my heart. Your love is like tears from the stars. Yes, it is. Mama, I just want you to know, loving you is like food to my soul. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Oh, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Oh. You're always down for me, have always been around for me, even when I was bad. You showed me right from my wrong. Yes, you did. And you took up for me when everyone was down on me. You always did understand. You gave me strength to go on. There were so many times looking back when I was so afraid. And then you come to me and say to me, I could face anything. And no one else can do what you've done for me. You'll always be, you will always be the girl in my life. Ooh, oh, Mama, Mama, you know I love you. You know I love you. You know I love you. Mama, ooh, Mama, you're the queen of my heart. You are. Your love is like tears from the stars. Your love is like tears from the stars. Mama, I just want you to know. I just want you to know. Loving you is like food to my soul.
Oh, I was just jamming.
I know, me
You
too.
never see me here dancing.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Look at me foot.
Oh. Some people do head move and shoulder move. You do foot move.
Moving down here now.
That's so good. But yes, we have to get on with our conversation. We wanted to start off with something that would uplift your spirit and bring you so. We thought about memories, but for a lot of people, when you read something, they may say, "Oh, they're talking about my mother in a posthumous way," or something like that. So we thought, and then Sharon said, "How about me and my mother?"
Me and my mother.
So here we are. So Sharon, start off with you. And of course, I saw Marie post her comment a while ago. She says, I have so many attributes from my mother. Some I love, some I do not. She turned 94 last month. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Wow, that's a
Thank
milestone.
God for
Interesting.
selfless love and care for us. Thank you for sharing that, Marie. She says some she
Yeah.
do not. Hey. And we would even want to know some of them. But Sharon, what about you? What do you remember of mom?
Well, my mother, I have lots of memories with my mother, and she's gonna be gone now 3 years. This summer she's gonna be gone 3 years already. So it's bittersweet, but I had loved her from afar because she didn't raise me, and I had considered my grandmother my mother. So when I'm talking about mothers, I cannot talk about mothers without referring my grandmother, because my formative years were all with my grandmother. And I became close with my mother when I was in my 20s, which was just the other day.
Of course, we know that.
Yes, so I'm thankful that I was able to have some very treasured moments with her, and she was more of a friend to me than a mother, if anybody can understand that. And I'm sure other people out there who were not raised by their mothers would have that same approach, possibly, because the formative years are, I mean, she has never even scolded me. I've never had beatings from her. She never punished me. Me can't say my mother did this, my mother did that, because my grandmother was raising me. Whenever she came to see me, it was always like love up and hug up and nice up. So, and I mean, I didn't give any trouble if I were to say that, but at the same time, she was beautiful. She was very sophisticated. She was fashion forward, and I remember her for that. And as a little kid, looking at her, I mean, my first memories of her, I don't want to take up too much time, but my first memories of her was, I think I was 5. So between 4 or 5, I don't remember anything. But by the time I started what we call basic school, and she would come around, she would come for me holidays, and, she set a course for my life that I appreciated. At the time, I thought it was meddling, and she if you left me alone, make me go on with my granny, and that's how I felt. But she had a vision for me then, so she made sure certain things were put in place for me to be a part of, for me to pursue. That has helped me in my life. So I appreciate my mommy, and I'm happy that we got to spend a lot of time together from my 20s to now. So I mean, it's been a while, and I think about her all the time. And with everybody, mother, when you say mother or your mother or my mother or your mother, we generally think, I mean, a certain reaction, I would say, would come, either that of love, affection, fond memories, or some people would be scared, or some people would be a little bit turned off based on the relationship they had with their mother. But I do have fond memories of my mommy, and here we are.
Hey.
Here we are. This
Nice.
picture this is my mom, and this is maybe 4 to 5 years before she passed. So this is her. My daughter had the thought to take this photo, which I appreciate. So this is my mom, this is me, and then there's my daughter and my granddaughter. And we all have the same dress. We have the same
Our
dress.
generations.
That's what my daughter said, Mom, someday this is going to be a fun memory. which is true because here we are, and I keep this on my dresser so I see her all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah.
Nice. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. And Maxie, what say you?
Okay, well, as like Sharon, I could almost say ditto. Because like Charlotte, I grew up with my grandmother, so I never spent a lot of time with my mother. But there's one outstanding time that I remember about her and never forget. And it's funny because whether it's Mother's Day or whatever day it is, this memory always comes back to me. And I was a very young kid. I couldn't have been more than 3 or 4 years old then. But I remember we were in Kingston because I was born in Kingston and I spent a few years in Kingston, maybe until about 5 or 6, I went to St. Mary. But I remember my mother being dressed in this yellow dress with lace because she was a person who loved to dress up. She had done this yellow lace dress sleeveless. She never loved sleep, just like myself. Stockings, heels, and she had my little sisters. My sister who follows me in her hand. Back then we never had stroller, so she had my younger sister in her hand, and I was walking next to her. She was holding my hand. I had on this little black painted shoes with, those socks with lace at the end, frill over lace. I never
Yes.
forget that memory. It's like a picture in my head. And we were boarding the JOS bus. You ladies must remember the JOS bus in Kingston back
Yes.
then.
And you know,
Back
Max,
then,
I loved one of my fondest memories with my mother too is taking the Joyce bus.
yes.
Because
And
my
I'm
granny
telling
would
and
take us and we'd meet up and take the bus. That was a big thing for
bus.
me.
Yes.
I
Because
can
back then
picture the
downtown Kingston
tickets.
was clean. Kingston is not a Kingston anymore. Back then Kingston was nice and clean.
Yes,
King Street, Orange Street, a parade, that area was beautiful, pretty clean
yes,
altogether. And all the
Yeah.
buses would line up. And I recall us taking the bus. I think we were going to my what you call this now, godmother's house.
Mm-hmm.
But that picture of my mother and myself and the dress she was wearing never left my head. She had press hair back then because back then no permanent thing wasn't happening. It was strictly pressing. That's one memory that I've never forget about her. But other than that, it was my grandmother who grew me up. She took me from I was young, maybe about 6 years old, because my mother was along with a young Indian man who was not my father. So my grandmother saw it fit. That's why she told me. She took me and grew me up because she didn't want me to live with them because he was not my father. She was afraid that I would be ill-treated by him. That was her explanation for growing me up. But other than that, I loved my mother. She was very, very quiet. She wasn't a rowdy person, not loud. She wasn't cantankerous. No matter what you say to her, she would just smile, or smile. And no matter what you said, good or bad, she would never argue or fuss and carry on and put on a scene. That was just not her. She was very, very quiet, very loving, very giving. I remember coming from school on several occasions and I stopped by her house because I had to pass her house to go to my grandmother's house with whom I lived. And I would stop and she would be fixing dinner or eating. And she said, "You want a piece of me dumpling?" And I would say, "No, mom." Because I was very conscious of the fact that she took the least amount of the food. So she would share the husband dinner first and then all the kids. And she had one dumpling or 1.5 dumpling in the pot, eating for herself. And she tried to, and I said, "No, I wouldn't take it because I had that passion that I know my dinner is well prepared and at home." Even though sometimes I go home and a young smoke, you see. But I would never ever, yes, I would never take it because I was like that. And back then, when I got older and lived in Kingston, and when I would visit St. Mary, if I'm taking something for my grandmother, I take for my mother. If I'm taking 2 items, 4 items, it will be one each for both of them. I always looked out for her because, she had life hard. She never grew up in anything fancy and posh. It was a small house in a small community, very down to earth. She did domestic work for a living. So I was always my heart always goes out for her because she worked so hard and didn't have any fancy life. She traveled once to Canada and that was all that she got. I remember seeing her walking in the yard bare feet. In my house on my carpet, now I wear slippers. I don't wear barefoot in my house. And back then she would be barefoot in the yard. Sometimes when I look back, I said, "Oh my God, I wish she had lived to know where I could give more." Because, when I came to this country, it wasn't flourishing. Life for me now is much better. I would have been able to give more now than I could back then. So a lot of times I said, I wish she had lived to know where I could give her more of physical things, material things, and more love. But,
Yes.
it is what it is. God took her at the age of 58, 59. So I outlived her because I'm 63. So,
Yes.
but may her soul rest in peace. She was just a beautiful woman.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maxie.
Wow,
All
she was
right,
You're
very.
welcome.
get on with it so we can hear from the others.
Yeah, the kind of switched to the computer. It finally came back up.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I need a new computer. But my mother is still here, thank God.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
She's still here, and she's almost 80 years old. In November, mom will be 80, and you can't believe that she's 80. She's like,
Yes,
mother, young girl.
acting very
She
well.
take her pain by herself,
Mhm.
and she jump around. She cook for her community. She's everybody's mother. That's
Mhm.
actually what she has on her WhatsApp too.
Mhm.
Is everybody's mother, because that's who she is, especially in her community. She's a
Mhm.
community person. She has 11 of us. For an only child who has 11 of us. And she took excellent care, 7 boys, and
Mhm.
she took excellent care of us. I grew up with grandma.
Yeah.
And mom, I was calling my grandmother mommy because I thought she was my mother because mom had to be out working.
Mhm.
So when I was around 6 or 7 or around about then, that's when grandma, and she always come and visit. But for some reason, I just thought that grandma was my mommy.
Okay.
And mom
Yeah.
come
Tell me about
to
that.
visit, and she said, "This is mommy. This is your mother." But nobody calls her mommy. Everybody call her Aunt G because where she was working at the guest house. There was this little boy there, and he was the same age of as my first brother, my mom's first child. And the little boy would call her Aunt G. And then Tommy, my brother, started calling her Aunt G. So came after that, everybody just call her Aunt G.
Gee,
It's
okay.
just, since we're grown now, we started calling her Mom or Ma, but she was Aunt G. And Aunt G was like just saying mommy because it was loving, the loving Aunt G.
Yes.
Same thing.
Yeah.
I call my mother auntie my whole life.
Me too.
And you
Me
switch
too.
up. I tried. My sister, well, my big sister also calls her auntie. My other 2 sisters call her mommy. And I tried it one time, it never sound right. So I'm but
It just never sound right.
like you said, the auntie sounded more
Charlotte,
affectionate. It would be in the same
Charlotte, you and I
tone.
have so much in common.
Oh
Yes.
my.
Yeah, I grew up
Yeah.
calling my
So much.
grandmother
I
mommy.
refer to my mother as aunt as well. As a matter of fact, I remember when I left Kingston, because I went to St. Mary to live with my grandmother. And when I left Kingston, I knew my mother well there and then in Kingston as a little girl. But when I went to St. Mary and she wasn't around, she must have been in Kingston. So I was living with my grandmother. And then when she came to St. Mary to live and settle down, I referred to her as aunt because I didn't even know that she was my mother. I was confused at that age. You're trying to put things together as a kid back then, but you can't seem to fit the puzzles together. So I
Let
didn't
me
know
tell
that
you.
she was my mother, so I called her aunt. It was Aunt Eunice for me every time. Until later years when I got older, I started saying mum.
Oh.
Yeah, so I
call
was
my
confused.
grandmother mom.
Yes.
When the names in
But
Jamaica,
my grandmother was mama.
Jamaicans when they bought them up, because they always say mum.
Yeah.
Mum.
Mum or mama. My grandmother was
For
mama
me now,
and my mother was mum.
yeah. So for me, my sister Soph and we went to Clarendon when I was 7. Soph was 4. My parents were married, but the marriage broke down very early. I would have been maybe 4 or 5. And the memories that I have of my mother is that, so broken home can be a very difficult
Yes.
experience for children. And if you're not rescued early, then
Mm-hmm.
that memory
Confusion.
will stay with you and it will create
Yes.
havoc in your life years later.
Yeah.
So while you girls can have all those wonderful things, the bits and pieces that I recall when the going was good with my parents would have been up to 4 or so.
Mm.
Right. And then when my father left, I remember seeing her. So here is this show that we are saying, me and my mother, and we're unpacking a lot of things. So I've always spoken of it that when I recall seeing him, he was always, and he's still alive, and have a good relationship. But when he was going through the door, I recall seeing him in his nicely attired black suit, slick. He did bodybuilding and so hot guy, and he's going through the door with his BOAC hot suitcase and thing, and she's hanging on to him crying.
Oh.
Oh, what a memory.
Yeah. But the blessing is that, and so she could manage after that. My mom could not manage after. She loved him with a love that he was her first love. And but luckily for us, my great-grandmother, my grandmother's mom, she had returned from the US years later after 40 or near 50 years living here in the US. So when we would always go by her, and especially when dad would come back, when he comes off the ship and for a few days and then go back. So mom would take us up to see him and thing. And me and Chichi, my great grandma, had a good bonding relationship. And so it was when she realized that Yvonne is not managing here with these two girls, then she reached out to my grandmother and said, hey, Victor has, because we didn't know my father's side of the family at all. So, we were rescued early from anything that could have gone badly.
Yeah.
Because she couldn't. And so we merged right into a family that embraced us, love us. And so that's how I and my sister and I are able
Thank
to.
God for that.
Yeah.
Because mentally, she was not present.
No, she wasn't. And
You see what one thing can do to somebody.
Yeah, I've shared on here before that in that moment, she tried to protect us the best way she could. And at one point, we were in a children's home. She was set in a children's home. Yes. And we were there for a while. But the people were very nice, and took care of all the children. And they had a home school. Miss Denny had a home school, and she taught us. And I remember learning so much. So, mothers sometimes when they experience, whether it's trauma, emotional upheaval, something, they know they have children, but they're trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
And so the whole Mother's Day compass in celebration, some children will, if they weren't rescued, or if people showed them love, will not have any memory of a good time with their mother, because everything that's
true.
Followed that.
Yeah, that's why I was saying just the very word, whether you say my mother or whatever. And I've heard some people refer to their moms in some derogatory terms. And that was based on their experience.
Yes.
Because we don't know, life throws us curveballs. And none of us don't come with instructions. They don't say if this.
Absolutely not.
I did programming back in the day, and we would set up the program a certain way, and we would put a fail safe where we would say, this is the command, but if not that, then that. Life not have that. You put up in a stone wall and you turn back around. So while some persons, depending on how what they're made of, some people, they thrive in adversity. And they will say, well, life has handed me lemons. Let me make lemonade. Some persons are not able to. And that's why, in growing up, God bless those God bless us all. Because here we are. But, just the term mother, it will evoke a specific reaction from different persons based on memories or lack thereof. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it's important to celebrate anyway, because
Yes, whatever.
we are here. Many of us have had children. Some have lost their children, but
Mhm.
there is a place that you go to, especially when you realize you are doing well in life, you're able to guide other people. There must have been a nugget that was dropped for you to hold on to and be able to guide other people.
But you
And
know what you're talking about, nuggets?
what? 1 minute, Sherns. You know
Yeah.
what? Why I celebrate the fact that Chichi, my great grandmother,
Hey, Chichi.
yeah, we call her Chichi, come take these two girls. It's because after walking through those doors in penance, I didn't know what life was going to be like. All we know, we were just put into a VW car and drive on through that pitch black. Because I had one time that as the lights started to fade out of the city,
You go a country. Teeny Wally,
Country
I wait
woman.
for you. Oh
but
God.
I'm just saying that, hey, I celebrate my mother and thank her for bringing me here and my sister.
Mhm.
Thank
Yes.
her for the times when she didn't hold me back from seeing my dad when he would duck, at the court. So all of those things I can say I thank her for. Other memories I really wouldn't be able to recall because I was so young. But
Too
man,
young. Yeah.
my grandma and her children, but mama just loved us endlessly. And that's why I'm celebrating. So for me,
That is awesome.
it's a twofold thing, but I can share it because if Chichi had not intervened, really, I don't know what our lives would be like.
Well,
Yeah.
I know what you're saying, Lady D, because I feel the same way too. Because the type of
So
person,
that was
when I look back now at my siblings, not that they turned out badly or poorly, but when I look back at my siblings and the way my mother grew, because my grandmother used to refer to my mother as soft soap. She was just saying, Eunice, a soft soap. Because my mother was just very laid back and quiet and not rowdy and loud, and she not beating up picnic. She never say, my mother's never spoken to me hard or loud, never. Even though I didn't grow up with her. Unlike my grandmother, who was a disciplinarian, my grandmother was a disciplinarian. I mean, all shoes, all belts, piece of stick, anything to catch you with.
Yes.
If you go to
Fire
shop,
stick.
spring, river, and you stay long, you're bound to get a beating. My grandmother beat me because I couldn't swallow a pill. She was giving me some kind of a pills for to build up your body, your system. And I couldn't swallow it until today. Me still can't swallow a pill. Me have to chew it. And she beat the hell out of me for that. She was just a discipline. But when I look back, sometimes I look at some things that I got flogging for, and I think to me, no, that I have more education, I understand that. I'm saying, but them something that was just pure abuse. But in the same breath, if it wasn't for her, I would not turn out to be the person I am today. My grandmother, she taught me how to iron, cook, make fashion meaning whatever you could put together to make a meal. She taught me how to do that. I can do that today if there's hardship. She taught
yes.
me how to iron my uniform. She taught me how to pray, how to wash, how to starch clothes, everything. There's
Yes.
nothing that she didn't teach me domestically. Nothing. So,
Yes.
I applaud her every single day.
Turn your hand.
Yeah.
Yes.
Turn your
Yes.
hand.
I make fashion.
If
Yes.
it was
Yes.
if it wasn't for my grandmother, I would be wearing pink this morning because I didn't have anything pink in my closet to
Oh,
wear. So
okay.
this is a pants that I turned upside down. And I tied it to
Sonia,
the
I make fashion.
okay. So kudos to my mother and my grandmother because they were
Of
very
course.
stylish women and the creativity came out because of them.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah,
Who knew?
but you know
Who
what
knew?
happened? What happened a lot is that although some of us may not have been raised by our mothers, and we DNA is there.
Mhm.
Yes.
DNA, I
Yes.
mean, DNA is DNA, and if you really study DNA, your mind is blown. And
Listen, I
Yeah.
love the subject. I love
yeah,
it.
and
DNA.
sometimes we benefit from things that we have inherited,
Mhm.
an inherited
Yes.
trait. So although, like John had said in her comment, that well, maybe it's not Joan, let me not say it's Joan, whoever
Yes, John. Mhm.
that something she liked, that she got something she didn't like.
Mhm.
So it's one or the other. But we
Oh,
get
Mhm.
some from our
Marie.
mothers.
Mhm.
We get some from our mothers, because with me right now, the older I get, the more I'm looking like my mother. I
Mm.
remember one time
Yes.
when I was first, what I recall, how I recall the introduction made to my mother, because my grandmother took me when I was a year and a half, so I was still on the
Wow.
breast. Me just never. Yeah. Anyway, so
Mhm.
so everything was her, coming along. Everything was her. Everything was her, and I remember she kept the dress that she took me from my mother in. And my mother came, and I must have been seeing my mother and just never thought she was whatever. But when she said to me, "Here is your mother," I remember I went like this. When my mother went to talk to me, I went like this to her, and she laughed it off years later. When I was going through our waist, I say, "You used to go, let me touch you." But she was introduced to me as my grandmother said, "Here's your mother," and I'm like, "No." And I said, "I have nothing in common with her. I don't look like her. I didn't see me in her. And if you to ask me, me look like my granny like crazy. I'm not gonna say, I just felt like my mother was
I get it.
nothing in
It was
common with.
all up here.
Yes.
Yeah.
I couldn't associate, because like I said, my mother was sophisticated.
Mhm.
I remember when I also think the whole thing was her here, because she used to wear the half head wigs, like and she had perm, because she was Kingstonian, and she was born in St. James, but her mothers, who were older, took her when she was a teenager, and so
Mhm.
she went to finish in school, and she was groomed, and she was all that and a bag of chips, and she was always so beautiful, skin pretty, two of them, pedicure and manicure. In the country, nobody mother look like that. You know,
Okay.
and then
You
she
know what you
wear
mean?
lipstick
Yeah.
and all them stuff. And see nobody else mother in my community. Nobody mother not look like that.
Yes.
No.
So always, people always say her name was Merlene. They would say, "Miss Merle, I come, your mother come." And me that was said, "Sure," and kiss me teeth. Because one, I mean, she was nice, she was sweet. Like I said, she never give me a beat, and she never back me up and scold me. She used to
Mhm.
always say, "You're learning in school, read this for me. How such and such." And then she would compliment me and tell me she loved me. I said, "Look, upon her like that woman is strange." But I got to appreciate that later in life. But in the
Yes.
That's what I was going to ask you,
no, sir, I couldn't see it. I know my voice is hers. My
Mm.
my singing
Yes.
voice is my mother, and I was so happy that we were
Yes.
able to sing together on the choir. Many years together. I was so happy. Her
Yes.
singing voice is the same as mine, or mine the same as hers was. Me
Mhm.
look like her now. My whole body and my mother. It is the weirdest thing.
Well, I can tell you that
I,
I
that's
always
great.
say that I see the contours of my frame, my body is like my mother's. I didn't get her nose. She had a very nice. My sister got the nose.
you know?
I said to myself, sometime if I had gotten that nose, it would not even have done me well. It wouldn't. It wouldn't fit me.
It's funny that you say that. You know what? My husband, every time Norman see me, if I'm standing at the sink or and he's seeing me from behind, he always say, "You shape like your granny." He always tease me. I said, "Me shape like my granny." But my facial features is definitely my mother. And my
Yes.
behavior, my ways, I have a lot of my mother ways. Sometimes when I talk, I hear her in me. Lots of times. I say, "Love me, so let me mother in." And my
Yeah.
sister that lives in Florida too. But sometimes when I hear Dan talk, I say, "But no mum that me I talk upon the phone." It sounds so much like my mother on the phone.
Yeah.
So much
Yeah.
like my mother.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a cross features between, so I have high cheekbones. My mother's mom, just like how you see, I have a chiseled look. is so her face look. But if you also look at me, I look like my grandmother, my father's mom.
Oh,
Okay.
So, but yes, I wouldn't be able to identify some of my mother's traits because again, you know, I left her early. So I can't say, oh, I'm like that, but I know when you look at me, my shape and so on,
mhm.
that's her. And that's how I
My
see.
mother used to teach. My mother was a teacher, and I remember when her voice started changing. Like, I think over time, teachers, because of the you know, the pitch that they have to sometimes
Constant talking.
let out the way I have to talk, speak loudly. I remember when my mother's voice was changing and it was getting like a little raspy to me, and I just didn't like it. It's like I'm saying, it's like that's not my mother, you know. And I find that round about this same age, my voice is changing as well.
Oh.
I'm now sounding more like her.
Mm-hmm.
Even this morning, I said something. I said, "Oh my gosh, I think my voice kind of sound like your mom now too much."
Oh,
Yeah, that's how it is.
But
yeah.
at least
Yes.
she's here. She's still present with us. You know, we can share those little things and laugh.
Let me tell you,
About it.
treasure
It's a
every
wonderful thing,
moment.
I'm sure.
Treasure. I was even
Yes,
watching
Jackie.
earlier this week. I was watching some videos of my mother because when she had gotten sick, I made sure that I documented everything, our light moments when she didn't think I was watching her, times when we would go places. I documented everything. I know I'm able to sit
Watch it.
look at those things and hear the conversations. My sister, her birthday went by, and my mother always called us on her birthdays and sing for us. And when her birthday came around, she was able to play, you know, in the voice note, she was able to, you know, to play some of the voice notes that she kept. With my mother singing and talk, you know, singing to her, talking. Sometimes, you know, she would call me and say, you know, live work yet, we gotta do our road, that type of thing.
So as we are here with our guests, we thank you for joining us this morning for another edition of Inside the Zone Satideh Mawnin runnings, aired at 10 a.m. on Saturdays. Welcome. If you are joining us for the first time, we're glad you see. We no look glad too, no. As we're glad Baga boss. We're so glad to have you, and please share the link with someone. So Kat is here, and this is our logistics coordinator for the upcoming Penance Homecoming 2026 event. Hey, Kathy, go beat me. Anyway, he says, I was considering her favorite. She would introduce me as her pet, at times grasping my larger than average head. Her pronouncing my name, Tony, was hilarious for my playmates.
Wow.
Jesus. Good morning, King. How are you? We are happy you stopped by. Oh, so Jackie, I would like to address the favorite child part, Aaron. Okay. So here we are now.
You know, talking about the favorite child, my mother has four of us, four girls. And I remember one time we were all out together, and somebody said to her, so who is your favorite? And my mother got
Oh, Lord.
I mean, she was very docile. Just like Max is saying, her mother was like a soft soap, so was my mother. She wouldn't lift her finger, she would, you know, raise her voice and stuff like that. But that day, she got very indignant. I was looking at her like, seriously, lady? Because she said, how dare you ask me that? Mind you, the person just said, so which one am I your favorite? Four of them, yeah, which one you prefer? She was like, how must I prefer one over the other?
Right. That's why I said I
Yes.
wanted to address that, because that can bring, you wouldn't believe it, but that can bring a division
Oh, yes.
in families,
In
because I've
family,
seen
yes.
it.
Yeah.
I've seen it. you know you have how many children, and then you go and pick out this one. This is one of my favorite, and then you go sit down and you talk about the others with the favorite, and then the siblings here, and then the the rift begins.
That's trouble.
Yes, I know people who are living in that, and they're divided.
To the conversation piece.
That's a side for Sora. You can't do that.
So, Eval says greetings to us. Hey, Mom, this is Pauline's mom, Mama Reed, checking in from JA. Thank you, Mom. Then this is my good friend June, who lives in Canada. Pink looks good on you, ladies. Oh, we know.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
And here is my sister, Carbet. Morning, Carbs. Run, gone, leave me, but so. And Dr. J said the internet guy's here, so I might lose you guys. Oh, shucks. Then she says, I'm a female version of my father in every way, mannerism, thought process, etc. See there now?
Okay. Genes is stronger there.
You see that now, so Pauline went home to look for Mom. Eval is putting in his bid. So say, you're too crazy. Okay.
Eval can't crave for all in one because him can't fat.
All right. So yes. So as we were discussing before we put the promo out, some of the tendencies and some of the misconceptions or hard truths that we have to face in our mother, the way our mother was, how she raised us, and so on. And we acknowledge also that a lot of them, through very difficult situations, handed down to us resilience, showing us how to kind of stand up tall and manage in the face of hardship. And others also instill kindness, reminding us that the way we treat people matters more than the titles we hold. Because, there are some people who hold titles and you talk to them and you're like, but that do nothing for you. You're rude. You're uncool.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Thing. So a lot of the virtues that are handed down to us, they can, yes, be positive or negative. But as we get older, do we hold on to those negatives? Like Jackie raised a while ago now. So we do have the generational issues. Because some of us have the temerity to just chat and gossip. We don't know where to create boundaries. And so we can lure our children into that space.
Yes.
Yeah. Lure our children into that space. And before you know it, we take on that.
Take it on and turn it. It becomes so negative in the family that creates such a huge divide that even today people are not together. I remember.
Yes. I'm not speaking as siblings.
Somebody in this family was getting married. The other families, the other siblings came from different states. 2 in particular from southern states. And instead of coming inside the house, they stood up at the gate.
Wow.
They stood up outside. They stood outside for the whole time. I didn't know what was going on, what the situation was. So I asked, why don't they come inside? Because, everything is happening inside, and we were there putting, gift bags together and stuff like that. And only, good morning, Mr. Tyson, and only to see they were standing out there and somebody roll their eye.
Oh, wow.
So I figure something, you read into that and say something must be wrong. Maybe them not think so their house nice enough or whatever. I was just saying that. But it was afterwards that another sibling came and pinched me and tell me that they don't talk.
Wow.
That side and this side don't talk. And another thing too is like, you know, this is people's lives, but sometimes you have children with different fathers'
Ah,
names and
Yeah.
stuff
there
like
you
that.
there you go. That's
Yes.
Also
where I was
another
gonna
Yeah.
go.
that's
Mhm.
also another thing that
Yeah,
brings
Yeah.
about division.
yeah.
Mhm.
So for this particular family, it was a combination because it's the same mother, different fathers, and this side don't get along with that side. And
Love.
Yeah, which
so
Yeah.
it
happens,
was,
you know, and at some point though, there has to be some kind of
yeah, it
restitution.
gets, it
Yeah.
gets,
You can't continue that way.
No. Somebody has to be
Mm.
the bigger person and
Somebody
decide,
has to
say,
be.
Absolutely.
yeah, I have seen
Yeah.
that happen where, and I can't, you see, what's he saying? Can a mother's tender care cease towards the
Towards the
child she
child.
bears?
Mm-hmm.
I have seen cases where different children, say a mother, different fathers, maybe a father or two, and one father turned out to be better than the other father, and the children that the father wasn't all that, they get abused,
Mm.
whether
right,
physically or verbally or both, because the mother,
Yes.
from the mother.
I'm close to two brothers, actually two sets of brothers, two different families altogether, and the mother, they don't even know who their father is.
Mm.
Two of the boys, they don't know who their father is. And when they asked them, they kept asking her over the years. They are my age, close, one of them is 2 years older than me, one is like a year or two younger than me, one, maybe 2 years apart. And the mother would say, "We want to know that for." I said,
Mm.
"My father, why not?"
That's dumb.
So she said, "We want to know."
That's
They
dumb.
never say they're all living. They still don't know. Their fathers know themselves, you
Mm.
know. And then the
It's
other side,
dangerous.
two brothers, the mother had them for the same person, but he absconded or whatever, and she treated them really badly. And
Mm-hmm.
one of them, he looked at her, he was so sad one day and sick of the whole verbal abuse, especially. And the district people talk and say, I'm a so and so, but he married, and that's why. And he said, no wonder, because you every time you look at me, you see him, because he looked like his father.
Mm-hmm.
His
Oh
father was in
Lord.
the district,
Oh my God.
and yeah, and so he saw him. And growing up, he became the spitting image.
Yeah.
Everything, mannerism, physical, you name it, the way him
Everything.
laugh, him sense of humor, all of that. And she said to her finally one day, I know why you don't like me, because every time you think about it,
Mm-hmm.
you remember him and whatever came with him, but I had nothing to do with it.
Yes.
Exactly.
So sometimes
Yeah.
those
Well,
things that are dealt with, it
I can
affects a
relate to
whole
that story
generation.
because I don't know my father either. I'm 60 odd
Mm-hmm.
years old and I've never met a father, and I never asked my mother because as a child growing up back then, you couldn't be there, open your mouth and say, Mom or
Oh
Mom,
no.
what my father there, what my father name. You would have been considered, looked at as being rude and bright and prime.
They will
Okay?
tell you
So
that you're
until
rude.
today, I have never met a father. I don't know my father. I don't know any side of I don't know the side father side of family. So all I know are my siblings. But I also recall as a child growing up, I was living with my grandmother, of course, at the time, and my sister who follows me was living in Kingston with her father. And I remember he took her to St. Mary to spend holiday because it was summertime break. And he dropped her off one Sunday and he came back the following Sunday to bring stuff for her. And he brought snacks, banana chips, cheese chips, and all this stuff for her. And me, I feel good and I glad things see my father and think me I go get to. I was so happy. I gather around and I get excited. At the
Mm-hmm.
time, I thought he was my father, and I thought he had brought chips for me. And I never got any of those snacks that he brought. No cheese chips, no banana chips, no
Then you
nothing.
share it
Of
with you.
course. And my sister, who he brought it for, who is his daughter, never shared it with me. And she hid it and, ran away
Mm-hmm.
and didn't share with me.
Wow,
And as a child, I never, ever forget that moment. It
No.
that's
stayed with me
hurtful.
until today. I never forget it. Because,
Mm-hmm.
So
kids suck up stuff. And when you're young, things stay with you than when you're old. So those
yes.
moments that stood out for me never left my head.
Oh
And
wow.
Yes.
until today, as I said, I never met a father, but I've lived with it. I just write about it. You know.
That's why I have to be thankful for the kind of woman my mother is. In our household, you could use the word, you could not use the word step sister, step brother, or whatever. She didn't accept that. You couldn't, my sister Charm, people thought that Charm was more my mother's child than me. They didn't even realize that Charm was not my mother's child. To this day, when Charm's actually, it was because of my mother why Charm knew her mother, because my mother insisted that she needs to know her mother. And when her mother moved back to Jamaica from Canada, my mother made a point of her duty that she had to meet her mother so she knows who her mother is. And when her mother died shortly after, they just, started to get to know each other. So when she said her mother died, when she was at her office and said her mother died, everybody thought it was my mother, was mom, but you can't tell Charm, you can't tell mom say no fair pick me because she rears her from she was a baby.
I'm glad we are talking about this. I'm glad we are talking about this because this past Thursday on the show, for Center Stage, we were dealing with, because this month is Family Wellness Month.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
We, the focus was that in the family dynamic, here is the woman who gave birth to you. You have a father. If he's missing, he's missing. But what is handed down from her to you and your children and all of that? Because we find that mothers can go through life in silence. There are things they want to share, experiences they've had, even if they share it with you and it would benefit you to say, here is my misstep. I want you to learn from it. So in our culture, we are not taught how to share, People have actually broken those barriers. But a lot of people endured their experiences in silence.
By themselves.
It resulted in a lot of dysfunction.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So how you raise your girls. Girls are still today mirroring, and they refuse to let go of it because that's all they know.
That's all they know. That's what they were taught without being taught that directly. Indirectly, that's what they were taught. Because you see the secrecy, and they say the truth shall set you free. What's that, Max?
I said because kids especially, they suck up stuff with sponge, so you don't have to tell them directly. They just observe it. They learn it by observation and they live with it that way.
Yes, so good or bad, you reproduce it. You're shaped by these experiences, and sometimes it is to our detriment because
of course
you end up passing that on. Because look at the picture with me, that's 4 generations right there. So if this is something learned and you pass it and you pass it and it's like a trait after a while.
Yes.
It's
and especially if there is financial lack. I mean, poverty just a lick left, right, and center. She either go to her bed crying at nights because she'll worry about the future of her children, or some morning she wake up, she can't even talk because the night before she never get any rest. So there are silent sacrifices that mothers make.
Yeah.
And there are those now who work like tirelessly, endlessly, sacrificing to ensure that what they lacked, their children will not.
Yeah, and you know what, we'll talk about sacrifices there. I had discovered, I was in my teens when I discovered my mother had a drawer. Them tell us to say on your bureau, on in her bureau drawer. She had a drawer full of handkerchiefs. Just a whole heap of handkerchiefs. I said, but Lord, the lady, because like I said, I always observe her like not close, like me observe, whatever. So I said to myself, I said, this lady, I love handkerchiefs, sir. And she always, Jamaica hot, you go church. She always give us a nice clean one. She would press it out and it have a little embroidery in the corner and she would fold
At
it
the
just
end,
so.
yes.
And, and she always powder with faces and she was all that, sweet as ever. So I had said to her one time, finally, I said to her, I said, Molly, oh, you have so much kerchief. You love kerchief, eh? And she said, I love kerchief like that. But she said all of them kerchief. You show you like a partner hand, because you save, you show your partner, you have plans. If you pay a school fee, buy this, buy that, whatever. All the partners them that she threw over the years was all for us. So all she could buy herself when after the money was to take care of this and that and that. After all that was it, she always tried to buy one handkerchief to remember it by. So whatever the draw was, she would buy one handkerchief, whether it cost $1 or $2 or $5 or $10. She would buy it and put it down. So it was like a memento of
yeah.
that she could have said, we work hard, we paid here. The draw was so much, but it went to so and so. Maybe buy one kerchief out of it. So that's why she had all those handkerchiefs.
Yes.
Resonated
Something from her neighbor. She wanted to show something from her neighbor, and that was good.
Yeah.
I learned
that's something that I personally believe in. Yeah.
I learned saving and budgeting, especially from my grandmother. My grandmother used to be the banker for partners. And she used to I used to have to help her to write down the names, and then she put the money in the thread bag and put it underneath the mattress. So if she wasn't there, somebody come and drop off partner, I'd write it down in the book and put it in the thread bag and put it under the mattress. So she know who
financial director a long time.
I never like call people money. Even when I left home and I went to work, I was working, for TPDCO, and I had to count a lot of money when they were trying to implement a system. I tell them, I don't like count money. That's why I didn't become an accountant. I don't like money. I like science. But people, I always find myself in a job where I count people's money because I guess they can trust me because I didn't really like counting money.
So
you don't like count money either.
Here is something that just came to my thoughts too. So yes, they've handed down a lot of practical steps to life. But you also have mothers who sacrificed themselves into celibacy. So they may have had 3 children for someone, but rather than having additional children with someone else, they chose not to engage in no relationship. Now, we know adults know how to do them things. So even if she had, spurts of intimate connections with people, she made sure she not have no more children and nobody not coming to sleep at her home.
I was about to say she not bringing nobody around. No Uncle Tom, Uncle John, Uncle whomever. Yeah.
Yes. So you find that a lot of women have done that. They never marry.
Yeah. They just pack it up. They throw in the towel. They said, that's it.
Yeah. That's it. They didn't bother. Yeah. They didn't want to have children with different fathers and the same thing that we just mentioned.
Yeah.
That is what happens. And sometimes if children are born in wedlock, married and so on, and then the other set were not, that's also
a big issue.
And if you are taught to the children early that, oh, you are the so-and-so and the others are, there is a little prejudice thing.
Yes.
That
always.
The person who almost brought that division in our family was my stepfather. And my mother insisted that it's not going to work. She stand up strong. So I got that strength from her because nobody was gonna come in and separate our family. You'll pick up my sister's shoes. We all go to the same school. You pick up her shoes and clean it and leave mine.
Oh dear.
I'll be at 11:30 when my mother is just driving in the bus. So after she drop off her tourists, she carry tourists to Bunununus, what they call Bunununus, rafting on the White River.
We remember that, yeah.
Carry the tourists them, and they have their fun and enjoy themselves, and she drop them at their hotels. And when she's driving in 11:30, quarter to 12, I'm outside washing clothes. My mother drive up and she see me outside, and I have school the next day. She said, what you doing out here? My mother kick down the door, go in and wake up everybody and say, what do you mean for have me pitney out there wash clothes? And he was laying down in his bed warm and sweet. Mother go in there and kick down the door and show us. Mother said, you're not having me pitney out there. So you have to stand for your children. That's one thing. I didn't want to introduce any man to my child and say this is so and so, and I'm going to call them uncle this or uncle that.
Yeah.
They were coming in my house for one. The only first person I introduced to Christoph thought was a significant person in my life was Patrick. Everybody else was just a friend.
Right.
Everybody else, you don't come around, you don't come sleep in my house, and my child is not going to call you uncle.
Right.
Because after you gone about your business, one next uncle is going to come.
Yeah, that's dysfunctional happening. And you know what happened? While some people like you know, will insist on that, and like your mother had that reaction, you know, things had to be different. You have some women who are hopelessly entangled, and although them have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 missteps, they keep trying. And they keep trying, and it just like quicksand.
It get worse.
You can't get out.
Get worse and worse, Sarah.
Worse and worse, Sarah. Exactly.
Worse, Sarah.
And they was rah. But I mean, in everything though, I think God made women special.
Of course.
When the going get tough, we get going, and we do what we have to do. You know, I've seen, you know, women just like take the bull by the horns and say, watch out, let's do this. And that is why sometimes I've heard men say, Lord, you know, such a big hoopla about Mother's Day, The news and the media, everywhere you look, you know, flowers, the amount of phone calls made on Mother's Day, the amount of merchandise purchased on Mother's Day. They're saying to compare with
flowers are sold for Mother's Day than Valentine's. They had that statistic.
Right. They have all of them statistics.
Yeah. But what people don't realize is that the reference that children give to their mothers, especially when they have, as this we would say, passed the worst.
Right.
You see, when mothers make such great sacrifice, and I go back to that, because if you had no help, you know that there are families who, if a daughter gets pregnant and she is even put out of the home, everybody else becomes so clannish and oppose her that she is left out here elements to the wife. And when she chooses to push and fight and scrounge and come through life, having children out there, no guidance, no nothing. And her no support. And her children grow up to be somebody. Those are the people you find who will move hell and heaven. Let their mothers, because they see her, they see her work, they see her struggle. They know. And
they have been there, they have the memories, they know. My pastor, whenever Pastor Corey, God rest his soul, he always tell parents when he's dedicating babies, let them know how your breath smell. sit down with them, play with them, do things with them. So when you have these, and sometimes even these jocks, these guys that have the big contracts with NFL and NBA and all that, they hug their mothers, they cry on their mothers are there. Them remember when them do pee-wee football and the mother is there cheering them on a Saturday morning, brush off them knee when them fall down, sacrifice to buy the uniform, make a little sandwich, push in them pocket. They have those things that they remember. And no matter what they have achieved, if you were to ask them, it does not compare to those times.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those times shape them for who
No
they are now.
comparison.
Yeah, and don't forget too, you
Yeah.
have the mothers who not only sacrifice themselves into celibacy, but they also sacrificed careers that they could have had
Yes.
because
Yes.
they had children. And my mother wanted to be a nurse, but for one, my grandparents didn't want to send her far away to school, so she sent her to domestic school, and it was only because they knew and trusted the person who ran the school at the time. So she went away to Valley Minor, which is in the neighboring, well, it was like a boarding school. And that's where she went to learn, to cook and all of that. It was a domestic college, like a domestic college. But she really wanted to become a nurse. They taught first aid and she loved it, but she didn't get the chance to become a nurse. But I've seen how she cared for people over the years. There's so many people who have passed through our home. My mother taking so much people in our home, feeds so many people, clothes so many. She's like a nurse without the actual license, without the accreditation,
Well, see now, she can live vicariously through you because you pursue the career, and here you are.
Yes.
So
And I remember my brother.
You. So you're
My
afraid
brother
of
is also a nurse. My brother is a trauma nurse.
Well, there you go. Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah.
To see
So
Jen.
she's seeing her dreams, still seeing her dreams come true.
Yes. Morning to my sissy Jen. She says she's a little late. Lord Jen, man, you missed out some of the scoop. But
Jen can always go back and watch.
Go back and watch. So yes, but we're really talking some in-depth aspects of mother and motherhood. Me and my mother. And all of you here who are watching us, you can go back into the deep recesses of your minds,
right,
and plug out. It may not be something that you would have wanted, but life can throw us, a curveball.
Oh yes. No, it will. It will.
Life will throw curveballs.
Always does.
Yes.
Yeah.
How about us? We are mothers. I mean, Max, you may not have had one of your own, but I'm sure you have nieces and so on that you are even friends, and some of those sacrifices we have made ourselves.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have made and are making. You know what I mean?
Yeah, still making.
One thing I did, and I would admonish anybody to do the same thing. If you don't have a good relationship with your mother, and she's alive, mend it. Because I've seen people regret. The mother is in the grave. The mother is in the coffin, laid out, can't hear you. And you are bald and you are, I saw this guy, he was throwing himself into the coffin. Him lay over in the coffin and the mother. And lift her up, put him head underneath. The undertaker had to run up. I'm not talking in the church, They had to run up to him and say, no, you know how the head is raised on a pillow and so?
Yeah.
And they're in repose. Yes. He put his hand under there and I said, Mama, where you go, Mama? You can't left me, Mama. Mama, talk to me, Mama. Come on, Mama, talk to me. And they were like, no, he was so distraught. So I'm saying mend the fences. If the bridge is broken, repair it. Whatever you need to do make sure. Because once you exit this life, you could have buy 5 million flowers. She can't smell it.
Right.
So they say give her the flowers from now. Not all mothers love flowers, but whatever she would consider a flower. Do something for her.
Something else. Give them what they know.
And reassure her. Reassure her. My mannerisms are not from my mother because I can be very brash. I can be very tough. and such and such. That
Me
is not
too.
her at all. My big sister is my mother. Just soft so. You touch her so she does say, oh, that's not me. Me will jump up and
Not me.
You
I
are
get
grandma.
my
You are
sister.
grandma's
I
child.
understand.
yeah,
You are
yeah. Some
grandma's
Yeah, I have
that's
my
child.
not
grandmother
her.
style in me too, but very firm when I go on to be. I don't have my mother in me. I have some of her, but not all of it.
Right.
Mhm.
So me
Yeah.
always, I always reassured her. And she, I had in-depth, when we say in-depth conversation, sometimes I can sit here and don't, and I know regret, say I wish I would have said such and such. That's why,
Mhm.
although she was, pretty low for a couple of years as far as energy and ability to move around, I would put her in her wheelchair, walk her around, take her out, make we
Mhm.
go eat, make we do this, beer with her, do everything. And I always reassured her that I said, you have done well. I said,
Yes.
there's nothing more you could, because sometimes parents are thinking, Lord, me fail you. I
Mhm.
wish, because she used to carry a thing which she used to say, no, feel, say me, I give you where. I know, give me the one, give you up. And even before when I became a mother, it was more stark to me what she was talking about, because I look at my daughter and I said, oh my goodness, I never would have liked to have to give her up
Mhm.
or to leave her with a relative. When I was coming here, my daughter was only 1 year old,
Mhm.
approaching the same age, near year and a half. And I could have left her. And I said, never. I'm
Mhm.
not leaving her. I didn't want history to repeat
Yeah,
itself, where
Itself.
she
that
was
was what
Okay.
happened with my
and,
son. My
and
brother
loving
wanted
me from
me to
afar.
leave him.
Yeah, so I
Mhm.
My
said,
brother,
she's not me, I'm keeping her. But I made sure that I reassured my mother. I said, you did the best you could.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It could have been worse. You did the best that you could. Not everybody is happy, is lucky in love, and you're with the love of your life forever and ever, and you built the white picket fence, and
The
we
dog and
all
the
start
house.
out that way, but sometimes you end up that way, and you just have to put boots on the ground and get up and go. So I was able to reassure her.
Yes.
So do whatever you can for your mama. Kiss her up if she's still alive. And if
Mhm.
she's not, whatever you did, it is what it is at
And
this
Yoga
and
time.
foot.
and and I
I
don't.
can't.
I know Max has a point, but I'd also like to say this: that if forgiveness needs to take place, make it
Please.
happen.
Yes.
If your
Call her
mother,
Yeah.
tomorrow.
yeah, if
Call
you
her.
feel your mother has wronged you, you need to find a way to
Mm-hmm.
let her know that. If you have wronged her, you need to find a way to fix it.
Yeah.
And even if it's the other way around, if she has wronged you, because
Yeah.
somebody have to compromise. Somebody got to come to the front and say,
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
I want to fix
Because
this.
there
Yeah.
are children who have not spoken to their mothers as long as they can recall.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
I know people like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
forgiveness needs to
Sometimes,
take place.
sometimes too, the children don't turn out how you had expected them to. And it
Mhm.
also brings, a divide between the mother and the child. And the child might think, so,
But
okay, the
nobody
mother don't
forgive
love
you for
me.
that.
The mother don't love me. My mother don't love me at all, or whatever, stuff like that. So we have to find a way to mend these fences.
So here is Mike. Mike is saying, so Jen, Mike, Carbet, Evol, they are siblings. And
Mm.
um, Mike had a little episode. So here he's saying that Jennifer, his sister, has been mothering all week, taking care of him, so that's a
Yeah.
good thing. And
That's
we
good.
we appreciate that.
Awesome.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
forgiveness is important. Children who are not talking to their mother who not talking to their children, please fix it.
Yeah. Fix it quickly.
Fix it
Yeah, we don't
quickly.
need
Because
to have
regret,
regret. So
Yeah.
regret.
there is nothing worse than regret.
Yes, yes,
You know,
yes.
Mhm.
and you know what? Sometimes, or most times, if not all the time, the persons involved know what to do to fix it,
Of course, they
but
just
Yes.
nobody wants to
I
make
don't
the
know.
first move.
yes, they're
Yeah.
stubborn.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's a thing called PRIDE in the capital
Oh
letters.
yes. Oh
Well, it-
yes.
they-
I, I'd like to share. I'd like to share a poem from my book, Deep Thoughts. Charity, you probably read this one already. You said you bought a
Oh,
copy of
let
the
me
book.
hear. Yeah.
Thanks for that. This was entitled The Meaning of Mother. A mother is someone special with an understanding heart When others lose their faith in you, that's just when hers will start.
Mm.
Come with me and I will show you what a mother really means, what they will do, where they will go to give the word to you. M represents the maximum, meticulous, marvelous, magnificent individuals they really are. O speaks of the oneness, obedient, and open species the Creator has made them into. T shows the tender, trustworthy, and sometimes technical people they are. With love so true, they always want to do and do and do. H tells of their honorable and hypersensitivity that they cease to display, be it fun, work, or play. E shouts their everlasting expectations and educated experience that they all want to impart to their children from birth. R shows the respectful, responsible, and responsive life they must lead in order to be the eve of the earth. Mothers are mothers, no matter their age, color, class, creed, height, plight, or educational status. They are the reason you and I are here. Respect the fact, no matter what. Thank you.
All
Wonderful,
right.
Lucy. Thank you.
And there you have
Thank
it.
you. And there you have it, indeed. But I'd just like to share this with everyone this morning because God made you special.
God made you special. God made you special. For there's no other who's just like you. Special you are. God made you special. God made you so special. For there's no special you are. For he took the time to breathe into your heart and mind an identity. Your kind of style sets you apart. Be yourself. It's fine. It's all God's design. God made you special. God made you special. For there's no other who's just like you. Special you are. God made you special. God made you so special. For there's no other who's just like you. You're special. You're so special. Special you are.
Yes,
Wonderful.
indeed. God made us
Yeah.
special.
That kind of song will evoke a little tear from the eye, you
Oh
know.
my gosh.
Yes,
It was
Yeah.
just recently
yes.
I somebody sang the song because one of the cases that I work on, a private case, the lady just turned 90 years old. This lady told me stories from the sharecropping
Wow.
era. That's where she's coming from. Her long-term memory is good like that. So she can remember
Mhm.
being on the farms and when they left Georgia heading to Florida and who helped them. You know, those
Wow.
memories were awesome. And her daughter says she'll do anything for her mother. And at her birthday party, one of the nurses sang the song. So
Oh, wonderful.
we thank God.
Nice.
And
Yep.
Maxine, Marie says
Moment.
beautiful poem that you read.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks.
So as we're going to wrap up soon, but I believe everybody will get a chance to do their own introspection and see where you are with your mother. If she has already made her transition to the other side of life, and you are a mother today, then it's now time for you to say, what am I doing? Am I doing it right? Just do some assessments. You can even ask your children if you're open and vulnerable to hear them out. Because sometimes we think as mothers, we should not, nobody enough to tell we nothing.
True.
Yep.
You know,
No, no lie. True.
we know it
Yeah.
all kind
Yeah.
of
We
thing.
know it. We know it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have it all together.
hmm So,
Yeah.
I'm hoping that what we've discussed this morning, is sitting with you. The virtues, the generational traits that we talked about, the silent sacrifices, and also living for herself while living for you.
Yeah.
That's a very important part because mothers, those of you who have just put yourself on pause or a permanent space and you've done nothing for yourself. You know what happens when your children have now matured and moved on? We call it the empty nesting. You may not have had a partner, so it's just you one in the nest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's nobody there
You're
with
part of it.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and they might not come back because some people when they become empty nesters, they start planning on when the chicks are returning.
yes,
And these days, them chicks ain't returning.
they're
They may
not
make a
coming
pit stop,
back.
but they're not returning.
Right.
They
Remember
have to make.
recently
They have to make their own nest.
right?
Yes.
And remember recently when we were discussing about, how we want to have something back home, wherever home is. But we also
Mhm.
talked about when you're making those 2, 3-story and 4-story homes, and by the
Mhm.
time you get back home, life starts to
You can't go this step.
you can
You can.
You can barely
Point
step
blank.
out of the vehicle. You can barely come out of the vehicle, let alone to
so
go
then
climb
you have
stairs.
to
One
you
step.
have to go nest on the ground floor,
Yes.
Yeah.
right? You can go up top because you can
Yeah.
manage the
Yeah.
flight
So
upstairs.
Yes.
it's
Go up.
best you go wide. Don't go high. Go
Yeah.
wide.
And if you want to go high, you better put in an elevator or a
Yeah, all
lift.
that too.
Yes. And
All
so,
that.
Elevator or lift.
right. And so we're wondering, hey, what are we passing on? What are the lessons, the traditions, the wisdom?
Yeah.
What are the path that we
Mhm.
are passing on? How
Yeah.
are we empowering
Mhm.
our future, generations? And
Yeah.
then you get a chance to do your personal reflection and stories.
Yeah.
The moment that changed you. You know that there are some
Mhm.
people they got a word and it knocked the wind out of you
Mm-hmm.
and it
Yeah.
changed your life, the course
Yeah.
of your life.
Yeah. Oh yes.
Yes.
You get one of those aha moments.
Uh-huh.
And you say,
But
okay, is that
Mhm.
I
what it
wanna
is?
I wanna take the first go in saying that I don't for my mother's contribution to each and every one of us. I don't even think I tell her enough how much I appreciate her and how I love her. Especially lately, getting so involved in work, trying to play catch up because there are quite a few years in between that I hadn't worked and being in school and this transition from marriage to being by myself, single, and it was just a lot. And I found that some of my anger was spilling over on her and even others, till one day she said to me in here, I don't know what I did to you, but you're not the same person. And it was like a wake up moment for me. And it's like, I'm saying, why is she saying that? And only to realize that I was snapping at people. I was snapping at her. And I was like, that's really not me. That's not how my mother and I, we talk about anything. All of us, we can bring any situation to my mother. We talk about any gross, whatever you think might be gross or
anything.
it's not so far-fetched that we can't talk. And
that's
when she said that, it was like, no, I have to. And I think it was round about that time, I tell you, Lady D, that was when I got over that anger. It was during that time I realized that I was carrying all of this, and it was so heavy, and it was pitched over on everybody else, including my mother. So today she knows, because I caught up on myself, and I want to let her know that I am sorry, and I love her dearly. I wouldn't want to see her go. I don't know if I would be the same person. I love everything that she does for us, for the community, for everybody. She's really everybody's mother.
Yeah.
And happy Mother's Day, Mother.
Jackie? You know what, Jackie? You're making me tear up too. What I'm loving about what you're saying right now is the fact that you recognize it. That's the most important part. You recognize that something was wrong, and you were able to open up to her, and you're able to say how you feel right now, and come with the forgiveness, and come with the sorry, and love, because a lot of times things are happening and we don't realize it. But when you can catch up yourself and realize things, and open up and say it and express yourself, and it's good that she's here and you're able to express yourself to her, because a lot of times in my life, when I look back now, there are things that I would want to express to my mother, but she's not it for me to express it. It's just too late. So it's a wonderful thing that she's here and you can express it. That's the best part.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
kiss her jaw, hug her up. And the thing is that mothers know, because they have been where we are. You know what I mean? The age that you are right now, she can do a retrospective thinking and say she remember how she was. Because I'm sure 10 years from now, or when you are her age, you will then be able to look at Christoph and any children that he has at that point, and you're a nice little granny, Jackie, and you can, may I try make you smile, so smile, and you can then say, because mothers know how to give us things.
Yes,
it's that they will spoon feed you when you need a spoon. They can't give you a shovel because they know so you're not gonna get it, or it's gonna be too much for you. I know your mother. I've come to love your mother as well, Aunt G. She's a joy, and like you said, she's everybody's mother. And I can be happy for those whose mothers are still alive, and that's why I've always told people, kiss up your mother. Me so kiss up my mother, me rub up her head. When my mother was in the nursing home, the nurses would say, man, your mother are the best one on this floor. Look on her fingers, look on her toes. We made sure she had a fresh mani ped all the time. And in as much as she was ailing and she was older, old at that point, I was to pull out pictures and show them and said, this is who this person is. So it's just life. It's just life. So no regrets on my part. Thank God, no regrets. I dedicated the last several years of her life, myself and my three sisters, we dedicated our lives to her care. We listened to her. We made sure she had nothing on her heart and her mind going home to God with. and we reassured her the best we could. And
Mhm.
although she's gone, and I miss her every day, and I quote her often, almost
Me too.
daily. I quote my
Mhm.
Me,
grandmother more than her because of the
me too.
obvious, for obvious
Yes.
reasons. But my
Same here, sister.
screensaver is my mother's photo. I
Mhm.
have a button with her on it that I keep on my pocketbook. I see her everywhere I go. I'm in the car driving, I talk to her like she used to always talk to us like, if we're driving home. She had a tendency to call us at night
Mhm.
based on how we were born. So once she called me know she already called my big sister because I'm the second. Then she called the other one. She called the other one. And she always inquire about her husbands. How are they doing? How's the day? How is so and so? And if you're working late, you're driving home, she would call and she would say, "May I keep your company while you drive?"
Yeah.
And we would stay on the phone with her, and she would. So I have all that to look back on with a smile. So
Mhm.
I thank God for her. She was here 18 years, and I thank God for her and the time she spent. And I would not have liked to keep her longer based on her physicality and what she had been going through.
Right.
So that no, I always told her when she had the osteoarthritis in the knees and all that. I used to say, "Don't worry, God going to give you two new knees. You're going to be a young girl skipping through the days." And she should just laugh. So I did my best, and I thank God. I was
Yes.
able
Yes.
to
Yeah,
Yes.
Lady D,
Yeah.
I have to go. So
Yeah. Let's wrap up. But we want to thank everyone. Those of you who are over on our Instagram page, my Instagram page. Thank you. There's somebody over here says he wish more people were watching because this is crucial. So
Uh,
yes,
They,
thank
they
you.
can still share it so that others can come and
yeah.
watch.
Yes, I didn't realize um Sister Bennett was so young. She was only 49.
wow.
And
Yeah.
Andrea's
Oh,
mom died.
wow.
My mom died in her 40s too, early 40s. So we want to say thank you very much for joining us on our Mother's Day special, me and Mimada. And
Yeah.
I'm hoping that you'll get a chance to go back to Inside the Zone with Lady D on the YouTube channel and sit and watch it again. Share it with someone you know who will benefit from it because there are many people who will benefit from our conversations. We're always very open and vulnerable on this platform. So thank you, ladies. In pink, we look good today. Yeah.
Yeah,
In my
and and
pants.
and, and as they
Been
say,
given.
we may not have it all together, but together we have it all.
All
Exactly.
right. I
Very
like
good.
Right.
that.
Right.
Very
Love
good.
that.
Two snaps
Love
up
that.
in a
Love that.
circle.
So thanks to
Love
our
that.
producer. Thanks, ladies. Thanks to our audience. And we're looking forward to be boy, we have pulled out something out of hat here.
Ah,
We have another
Oh,
topic coming up, bracing yourself. But
yes.
again,
ooh.
those though we like to dabble in the nostalgic moments, but there are some runnings that are real life
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
situations.
Yes.
yes.
So, we just
Mhm.
want to say
Yes.
thank you. So blessing you. And as we love to say, who want to say what first?
Me I go in.
May I go round? May I go
Me
up?
a go
May I
down.
go up?
Me a go down. Me a things to do.
May I
So we
go
are
up? May I go up
going
for
in.
change?
Yeah. So we are going in, darling, in, go in, go up, go down, so go round, so go on round. So
Me
have
polish the
yourself
floor it a dry, so me a go shining out with the brush.
a good crupper, crupper. So blessings, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Happy
Happy
Mother's
Mother's
Ta-ta.
Day when it
Happy
comes.
Mother's
Happy
Day,
Mother's
Yeah,
everybody.
happy
Day.
Mother's Day when it
Happy
Blessings.
Mother's Day,
comes.
everybody. Happy
Bye.
Mother's Day,
All
Mama.
righty. Okay.
For 2 days, the 5 o'clock hour is hot on Fit FM 96.7, www.fitfmja.com. Your life, your music with Lady D, Denise Gomez, Inside the Zone. Catch me on Monday at 5 p.m. for the Monday Drive, keeping you in the know in the city you walk, drive, and reside. And on Friday, yes, at 5 p.m. for Center Stage, the platform where voices are heard and people connect. From abroad to yard, Trelawney. Celebrate the heartbeat of Caribbean culture with Satideh Mawnin Runs. Join us on Saturdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube as we showcase the vibrant heritage of Jamaica and the wider Caribbean with 4 incredible women, Sherns, Max, Jackie, and me, Lady D. From powerful stories to cultural traditions, we're bringing the flavor, rhythm, and excellence of the Caribbean straight to you. It's more than a show, it's a celebration of the roots and traditions that inspire and unite us. Subscribe to Inside of the Zone with Lady D on YouTube and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn to stay connected every Saturday at 10 a.m. It's Satideh Morning Runnings. Come feel the vibes. Satideh Morning Runnings, where Caribbean heritage comes alive.
Can you feel the vibe? Give me that